No.
And they've been the band. They got the wire chain link fence.
I missed that.
Anyway, hey, welcome to the classic series for August
of 2010.
2010. Paul Kalemkiarian, my co-host Ed Masciana, author of this book.
No.
That's on wine.
Wow, where'd you dig that up?
And when are you going to do the long version of this?
With a long version. It's just wine, you know. I mean, people think it's got some sort of deific proportions.
This is the long version of the Shortcuts on Wine.
It's the long version of the Shortcuts on Wine.
And also our Music on Hold, which is apparently the old version.
Let's just not get into it now, okay?
Anyway, this is a great 3 CDs for the price of 4, right? It's a great deal. So, anyway, what are we tasting today?
We're tasting the classic series for August of 2010.
2010.
Is there an echo in here, or was it just me?
I heard it that time.
Yeah, this is the Sylvester Pinot Grigio.
Now, this was a late entry. I was looking for a domestic white. And, you know, I have to say, and you may have seen this right in the newsletter, that our blueprint for import and a domestic red, and then switching back and forth for the imports each month is starting to break down a little bit because
after 38 years, it's starting to break down.
So now we're starting to see
funk.
You might funk and white. So I thought maybe you're going to start seeing maybe 2 domestics or 2 that are red and white or whatever. So don't expect always to have a import and a domestic. That's all. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Okay?
Well, you did that in 18 words. You could have done it in 4.
I know. Gee, man, I woke up nasally this morning. Can you hear it?
No.
Besides, with a nose like mine. Hey, a photographer just came in to take some pictures of us. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
Anyway, it's a nice golden yellow, and this is Pinot Grigio from Paso, Robles, and Sylvester has always made pretty solid wines. I mean, it was just classic to me.
This is one of those grapes that is like driving me crazy because no matter where it comes from, I like it. I mean, I almost, it's like Malbec. I've almost never met a Pinot Gris that I didn't like. This is they're amazing.
Is there a song behind that somewhere? I never met a Pinot Gris.
It might be in front of it. I don't know if it's behind it or not. People think of Pinot Grigio as Italian. It is an Italian. It actually is not an Italian grape. It's actually Pinot Gris that's grown in Alsace, which is a French grape. And the Italians, they borrow from everybody. The French steal, the Italians borrow. I hope you understand the distinction there. And then of course we're talking about the Armenians
because they're going to give it back later, right?
Yeah, they give it to the Armenians. Anyway, this is a terrific grape, and this is a wonderful bottle of wine for absolutely no money.
It's cheap.
I mean, do you actually charge people for this?
Well, it's $12.99 if you went to the winery to get it. It's $9.99 if you special order, a special member price, and you can get more for $6.99, which is really cheap. Some of the wines that they bring me, they from vintage to vintage, they aren't that consistent. But this one I thought was really
delicious,
sound quality
really
wine.
Nice wine.
It's I gave it 89, but it should be a 91.
That's what I gave it. Was a 91, $6.99. Come on, $7.
I know
for a really nice, great summer wine. I mean, you can have this for picnics.
This is very crisp with the finish.
Lovely acidity in the finish there.
Acidity.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking about acidity.
Acidity. Okay. Can you say that on podcast?
No, I didn't say it. You did.
Okay.
All right. For the main red, the Santo Loreto Cabernet from Chile, and this one, I tasted this when it landed here. Like I said before, we taste everything that comes here now, the domestics and the whites. Reds from
I can put this
Chile.
in my fountain pen.
I know, it's beautiful.
Very dark. Wow, what a
nose
nose.
is just
big
classic Chilean
nose.
Cabernet. There's something scratchy on this too.
Wow, this is really something.
Remember when we featured the Los Vascos Merlot, like one of the first Chilean wines to come here that had any value to it?
Wow.
And this thing just reminds me of that. It just jumps out of the glass. It's all varietal character.
That tastes very much like California. If you'd have told me it comes from Sonoma County, I wouldn't have argued. Not Napa. It doesn't have that kind of licorice, earthy component, but it's got that fat, rich Alexander Valley, warm climate fruit. This stuff's incredible.
And it's short of that grassy sort of herbaceousness you get from Chile usually.
Especially, yeah. You tend to get a little bell pepper asparagus component in there because it's not real warm. But wow, that's really a spectacular wine.
Now this also was $12.99 on the shelf if you can find it. $9.99 for the first one, and you can get more for $7.99. And really, I'd rather pay $7.99 for something like this than $1.99 for something that's hard to drink.
This is one of the best Chilean Cabernets I think we've featured. Really I'm amazed at how good this wine is.
I gave it 90, really a 92 or 93.
I'm giving it a 94. I mean, really, come on. What are you going to compare this to? You're not going to compare it to Napa Valley. Okay, no, it's not Cayman Special Selection, but come on. I mean, this is really good.
Wine. I should have charged more, huh?
It's too late for that. Okay, we've already gone through this. It's too late to charge more.
We already printed the newsletter?
We already printed the newsletter.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something really spectacular. I'm going to change glasses here.
Yeah, okay.
Now watch this. Somebody's thinking in this wine world, because I have had more than one customer call and say, we broke our corkscrew on that bottle of wine, and then we go to ask them what wine it was, and it was a screw cap. Okay, I'm not kidding. Okay, so look what somebody invented. Look at this. Here's the corkscrew.
Oh, okay.
Right? Or you can just do this. Put it on there.
Oh, that is
that serious, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they already had something
smooth?
like this for sommeliers in the fancy schmancy restaurants, because they don't want to get rid of the pomp and circumstance of opening a bottle of wine for their customers, so they had some screwy silver thing. I don't know.
Well, I just posted on Facebook this morning, yesterday, about the Cork Ritual at the restaurants, because everybody should know that it means nothing to smell a wet cork, and that whole thing is just.
They all smell like corks.
Like this.
Hey, that's a cork. Yeah. Well, what do you expect it to be?
Right?
I mean, it was.
So, and I got a ton of comments back right away. Look at the color of this. It's got that sort of chartreuse sort of hue to it.
What is it? What grape is this?
This is Chardonnay.
Oh wow, it's got that
apostles.
Green. It's got that green tinge.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And we did the Shiraz, which was a great bottle of wine, and I just like this too.
You know what? When you see a white wine like this with a certain amount of color to it that it doesn't normally have, what that usually means is that the juice was fermented with a little bit of skin contact. Normally they don't do that with white wines because it gives it a stringency. I kind of like it, and you can get that kind of puckeriness, on the sides of your mouth and in the back of your mouth, and that's usually the result of tannins from the skins, which, like I said, you don't normally see in white wines, but they do it to Chardonnays occasionally when they want a little more oomph. And this has definitely got it, and it's just spectacular.
I can tell you now on Facebook, I also did a conversation on oak, and so many people are saying, I want unoaked Chardonnay. I don't want to taste the wood, and I agree with them, and this is a classic example of that.
It's delicious. And how much is this stuff?
I guess the apostles were surfers. I thought they were biblical. But I guess they were. This one is,
I don't know. I missed that part of the Bible.
Yeah. This one is on the wrong page. So
well, let's put it on the right page.
$11.99 on the shelf, $9.99 for the first one, $6.99 for more. And a nice crisp Surf Cat label.
Right, and
how about that?
Well, it's a good thing you didn't call it 13 Apostles.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll come up with it next. All right, I'm going to give that a 91.
I have it as an 89, which is really boring.
You're back to your old haunts again, with the 80s for crying out. Why do we even do this? Why don't we just say
the problem,
really, really good?
I told you the problem.
Really not
I've tasted 50 wines, I get the wine, I like it, and my whole scale gets messed up.
Well, maybe it's time for somebody else to take over that job for you.
Yeah, come on, buddy. Tuesdays, you know the rule.
God.
You got bored with it.
Yeah, I know. I knew the rules before you did.
I know. I used to set it up.
I'm not a big fan of these fancy labels, but I think this is kind of cool. All right, the Chameleon label.
Chameleon.
Another thing I really don't like is Carignane.
Really?
No,
well,
I don't like
it. Great grape.
I think it's a horrible grape, but this is a really good wine.
Well, this is an 05, so it was no charge for the extra aging at the winery. Look at the color; it's just still youthful,
but
still dark.
What makes this wine really good is the fact it comes from really old vines. Like 30, 40-year-old vines, and they don't overcrop it, which means they don't try to get so many grapes off of it that the taste is thin and flimsy. Wow. It's really got some character to it. It's got some nuts.
These were $30 wines at the tasting room when they bottled them. We featured the Bonarda as, I think, an email special. Did really well with it. Mm-hmm. They had a whole bunch of these wines. I think the brand has been abandoned by the winery, and so we were very fortunate to have this. A 2005 Carignane. Beautiful bottle of wine.
I would never in a million years want to drink Carignane on purpose. But this one is fantastic. I can't believe it's all Carignane. I bet it tastes like there's Grenache in there, You have that little grapiness that you get from Grenache. Yeah. Matter of fact, this could almost taste like a Côte de Rhône to me.
I agree with that. A Carignan-based Côte de Rhône.
All right, this is going to be a first. I'm going to give this wine a 93.
Wow.
And if you'd have told me a week ago that I was going to give a Carignan a 93, I would have ripped your tongue out.
Ooh.
or close to it.
Some people would
it's almost
appreciate
ripping your tongue out now.
Yeah, right. I can't imagine what it was like when it was bottled. It was probably very tangy.
Pretty tangy, pretty rough around
There's still
the
a ton of fruit in there still. $12.99 for the first one, $9.99 for the second. I mean, it's like $12.99 on the shelf, $9.99 for the second one.
Whose shelf would that be, Paul?
$7.99. Let's see.
It's not this shelf. This shelf, it's $10.
And I gave it a 90, but I don't know.
It's 93.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know.
I don't know. Well, if you don't, who does?
I don't know. Well, hey, we'll see you at the Vintner Series. Cheers.
Okay.